This looks good. I think I'm going to want to get into this. I've never heard of Koval until today.
Till today.
So you must be the ambassador for Koval.
I am the
here.
DC brand ambassador. That's correct. Yes.
Great. So what kind of mood do I need to be in to try this on a Friday night?
Any kind of mood. Just breathing.
Okay,
Yes.
that's beautiful. I think I could do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So where do you start the newbies?
So the newbies, so if you're new to whiskey and you're kind of intimidated by whiskey and you're worried that it's going to burn too much, I recommend the millet whiskey. So in comparison to other whiskeys, we're using an unusual grain with this one. So millet is an uncommon grain in distilling, and that's actually one of the calling cards of Koval is to use these unusual grains such as millet. So as far as texture, flavor, and spice, and the way this whiskey tastes and feels, I recommend it for newbies, as you asked, because it's the lightest and smoothest of the bunch. It's got hardly any burn. It's real nutty and rich, but it's got the mouthfeel of water. It's super smooth and really bright, clean finish. So I recommend that for the newbies to start.
So I'm going to try that to start.
All right.
And you're serving it neat.
I'm serving it neat, yes.
Okay, so...
And that's how I like to drink all these neat. I don't even put ice in it, and I'm not super confident with my mixology skills. I'll sometimes, get crazy and try to make like a Black Manhattan or something like that. But this is just beautiful enough on its own where you don't really need much else other than the whiskey.
Okay. So is this kind of a more of an American concoction, or is it
Absolutely.
influenced by any other?
So it is definitely an American whiskey. We're definitely focusing on American whiskeys here and a unique take on it. So the name Koval actually means black sheep in Yiddish. Not a literal black sheep, but black sheep as in one who goes the other direction, one who goes their own way.
The oddball in the family.
Exactly. So Koval is, in a good way, the oddball of the whiskey family, because like I said, we're using these these unusual grains such as millet. It's 100% organic. It's 100% kosher. And we're focusing more on the taste of the grains rather than the taste of the barrel. So I'm going to ask you, what would you fancy a guess as to how old that whiskey is?
It's funny. I can't really tell because apparently I'm not that polished on this, but I would say it's got to be at least a couple of years to be able to get this kind of depth and quality of the notes, if you will. I mean, I don't think that's something that happens overnight. So
definitely not overnight. So we're actually, most people guess between 3 and 5 years, and all these whiskeys are between 18 and 24 months depending on the batch. So that's shorter maturation times, focusing more on the taste of the grain by using high quality organic grains and using only the heart cut of the distillate. So that's just the pure ethanol cut. That's why it's so smooth. That's why it's so flavorful. Yeah.
Well, it definitely tastes great. Now I would guess, again, I'd say maybe it's around 40 proof. Is that somewhere in that range?
Yes.
Okay.
The millet whiskey is so at 40% alcohol, 80 proof. Yes.
Okay.
So the millet whiskey is going to be standard.
Stronger than I
proof.
thought. I mean, I didn't realize it.
Yeah. So 40. If it was 40 proof, that would make it 20% alcohol, which it wouldn't classify as a spirit. It would be more of a liqueur at that point. So for it to be a spirit, we need to be standard 80 proof. So that's what the millet is, and the others are actually the four grain, the bourbon, and not the rye. Just the four grain and the bourbon are actually going to be a little bit overproof at 94. So 47% alcohol for these two, standard 80 proof for these two.
Okay, so typically when you introduce someone, you'll give them this.
If they're a newbie. If they're experienced, I'll try to get them right into the bourbon or the four grain or the rye, something that's got a little bit more spunk, a little bit more spice, and a little bit more, a little more action going on.
Is that on this side?
So over here we got the gins. We got 3 gins. I unfortunately do not have this one to taste, but this is a cranberry gin liqueur. This is a barrel gin, and this is the dry gin. So the barrel gin is the same formula as the dry gin. It's based with a white rye whiskey, and it's rested for 6 months in an oak rye barrel. So flavor-wise, this guy is going to be real forward on citrus and star anise and obviously juniper, as you would expect with a gin. And that 6 months in the oak rye barrel with the barrel gin is going to give it an added kick of butterscotch and a little bit of spice from the rye barrel.
Everyone loves butterscotch. I mean, who can't like a butterscotch
Exactly,
taste?
yeah. So I refer to this one as the whiskey drinker's gin. So if you're more of a whiskey guy and you're kind of getting into gins, this is a good way to bridge the gap. Or if you're a gin guy and you want to get crazy with a different gin, this is a really good place to start.
Is this available to try?
Absolutely, the dry gin.
We might as well keep. Can we keep it in the same cup, or is that
It's probably better
verboten? Okay.
Yeah, you can can
Put that right here.
Or
Okay.
you got a garbage too. Yeah.
Sure. You've been doing this all throughout the area, right?
Yeah, I do. Most of my tastings here, I have a good relationship with George. This is a great store. They have a great location, and he's real flexible and accommodating with my schedule. So.
And look at this window. I mean, this is pretty.
Yeah,
nice
right. And I got company with my beekeeper.
There's a theme.
He's keeping watch. Yeah.
There's a theme going on with that.
Exactly.
Thinking about the bees.
Cool. So I like to play a game with this gin. So you're going to get citrus, star anise, and juniper. Those are the 3 notes. You got to tell me if you get more citrus or star anise. So people are always going to get more of one than the other.
Wow, I don't know. Honestly, I'm stumped. I'm not sure about star anise because I don't know exactly what that would be.
It's similar to licorice in taste.
Okay.
So that licorice.
Oh, the anise. That's right. Yeah. Now I remember that. Okay. So I'd honestly have to say that it seems like a blend to me.
You're getting both.
That's the way I perceive it. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what I get. In reality, that's what it is. Some people usually get more of one than the other. But yeah, citrus, star anise, and juniper. Those are the 3 notes that I get in the gin. Real crisp, real light, real refreshing. It doesn't have a gooey, sticky, heavy mouthfeel like some gins do. So it's real refreshing, goes down easy.
This would put me to sleep. I think one good shot of this, and I think I would sleep well that night.
It just might. Yeah.
So, what's been the trend these days? I mean, what do people seem to like most? And overall, obviously, the educated people, like you said, tend towards other things, maybe more the gin.
That's a great question. Definitely the bourbon, I would say. So, in the past 15 to 20 years, bourbon and rye as well have made a huge explosion in popularity. They've really come back. You know, the older generation used to drink these spirits, and they were real popular back in the old days. But now, you know, we have a rebirth. There's all kinds of new bourbons and ryes on the market. And as far as our portfolio goes, the bourbon is the most popular product. It is the only bourbon in America that uses millet in the mash bill. So we have a mash bill of 51% corn and 49% millet with this one. And in the DC market, most restaurants and bars that carry Koval will always have the bourbon. About a year ago, there was a write-up in the Wall Street Journal about this bourbon, and since then, it's really exploded in popularity. Would you like to try something?
Sure.
I mean, it's Friday, got some free whiskey, why not, right?
Drink it straight, but I'll try it.
All right, so we got bourbon. I was just telling this guy about the bourbon and how it's the most popular product. It's real caramelly and butterscotchy, a little bit spicy. If you like something a little more mellow and smooth, I would recommend the millet whiskey. That's going to be super smooth, a little bit nutty, right, clean finish. I got a nice rye, if you like rye, and then I got a really cool 4-grain whiskey if you like something kind of adventurous.
Yes, I don't know. I need to get a gift. I don't drink any of this straight myself, so
Okay.
I'll try the one that. Which one do you recommend? Someone that does drink this.
Just go with the bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of caramel and butterscotch, some mango and vanilla, and a lot of spiciness. Not a lot, but some spiciness on the end, yeah.
Hey, you're on the Today Show.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's smooth. I can drink it.
Yeah.
which
And
usually
if you're
I
not a
have
whiskey
trouble.
drinker, that says a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Cool.
It almost seems like a dessert to me. I mean, I would say.
You know what? I've mentioned that before. That there's a lot of notes in these whiskeys that are just remind me of desserts. There's like not too sweet, but are dessert-like notes in these whiskeys. There's just like a certain element about them that remind me of desserts, like a creaminess almost.
Would it be blasphemous to combine it in an ice cream a la mode kind of thing?
Well, if you buy it, you can do what you like with it. I mean, it's going to taste good in whatever you put it in. I just like to really taste the whiskey and really enjoy it for what it is. So that means mixing it with as little as possible. I usually just prefer to have it on its own. But ice cream's good and this whiskey's good, so it's probably going to be really good.
Maybe I invented something just
There
now.
you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys a DC based?
So the company's based in Chicago.
Okay.
Yep, distilled, rested, and bottled there. 100% organic and kosher. No preservatives, additives, or caramel colors. No new products.
Okay.
Do you want to try something else?
No.
Cool.
I mean, that was great.
I'm glad you liked
I'm
it.
just gonna think about it.
And everything is 10% off for the tasting too. That's the fun part.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank
It's
you.
just nice to have the experience of trying something so you can think about it,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
All right. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing that I'm sure people are tempted, even if they're not necessarily thinking about this, they might want it for the future, or they might want it for a gift, or they might kind of keep it back there like, you know, when I'm ready to treat myself,
Yeah.
this is something that I'm going to go out to it and celebrate with.
Exactly, and that's definitely kind of how people look at this product. It's in that price point between the $50 and $60 range in this market for most of the whiskeys. And you know, at that point, people are like, yeah, this is going to be a nice bottle. This is going to be a nice gift, something for myself, something for a loved one, a friend, a family member. But yeah, it's not your everyday bottle of whiskey. It's something special, absolutely.
So if you're thinking about maybe you just got a bonus, or your boss came out and said how wonderful you were, or you started your own business,
Yeah.
your .com
Exactly.
went, your stocks are going back up after a long while, or the shutdown is over, or something.
Then
good
I would say
happens.
buy one of each and see what you like for your different moods, and just have them there, have them ready to go. Because for me, I like all of them in a different way. My personal favorite's the 4-grain, but that's not an easy decision to make. I really do love all of them, and they all have different. I'll be in a different mood for a different taste, a different texture. So I have a different whiskey that I will go to for that. So that's something. There's a nice variety in this portfolio. It's a little something for everybody.
Well, I like the word portfolio. It gives a sense of cultivation, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Out there
yes.
with stocks and bonds and so
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Real estate.
For sure.
Well, I appreciate you.